Troup County Schools.
A place where you can learn and grow.
A place where teachers care.
A place where family and school come together.
A place where learning matters.
A place preparing students for a bright future.
Whether going to college
or into the workforce.
Troup County Schools, preparing students for success today.
Hello, and thank you for tuning in today. You're watching Spotlight on Education. I'm Tina Duckett, your host, Director of Public Relations for the Troup County School System. And this program is designed to bring you information about our students, our programs, and our wonderful staff. And joining me in the studio today is Lynn Soesby, and Lynn Soesby is a counselor at Berta Weathersbee Elementary School. Thank you, Lynn, for joining me today.
You're quite welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm so excited that you're here, and I know our audience, we are going to learn so much more about Berta. So let's just get into it. As a counselor, how long have you been a counselor in education?
Well, I've actually been in education, elementary education, for 36 years, and the last 20 of those have been as an elementary counselor. I actually began as an elementary teacher in Cobb County.
Okay.
During that time, I got my master's in counseling, but at that time in Georgia, there were very few elementary counselors in school systems, much less in schools. So I was an elementary teacher. After I married, transferred to Bainbridge, Georgia, where again I was a classroom teacher. And then when my husband transferred and we moved to LaGrange, Georgia, I actually got a teaching job at Unity Kindergarten Center. So then I became a kindergarten teacher. And after about 5 years at Unity Kindergarten Center, a counseling position opened up that split Unity Kindergarten Center and Berta Weathersbee, which at that time was all 5th grade. So I've been doing this for the last 20 years at Berta Weathersbee.
Oh, wow. Well, we're glad to have you here again, and I know that you are representing your school, and you will do so very well. I'm confident of that. But tell us who the school administrators are. Who is the principal and who is the instructional specialist?
Lorraine Jackson is our principal, and Kelly Hubbard is our instructional specialist.
Okay. And Berta, you said you've been there for 20 years, and I know the school, of course, has been here and is a rich part of our community. And Berta is one of 13 elementary schools of the Troup County School System. So tell us a little bit about that rich history.
Right. Well, if you enter the building of Berta Weathersbee, you immediately see the magnitude of the school and when it was actually built. It was completed in 1953 at its current site, but prior to that, it had been at a location nearby. And due to a fire, it had to be rebuilt. And again, it was completed in 1953 with some Callaway Foundation grants as well as state funding. So at that time, I'm sure it was considered a state-of-the-art school because it has so many things that you do not see in schools today. And if you walk in and you see the marble floors and the big tall pillars upon the entrance of the building, you just see the magnitude there. But the principal there was Miss Berta Weathersbee, and its original name was Southwest Elementary. It did not receive the name Berta Weathersbee until Miss Berta died in 1974, and then the name was changed. But she was principal there for 41 years.
Wow.
And following her was the principal, Mr. Donald Seymour, who was principal for 18 years, then Mr. Ted Alford for 16 years.
And Ted Alford is one of our board members.
He is, and Mr. Alford is actually the one that hired me as counselor at that school. And then our current principal is Dr. Lorraine Jackson. So what is unusual about Berta is that is only 4 principals there in the history of that school, which is pretty amazing.
That is, wow. Well, thank you for sharing that. And we know that with that history, the staff continues to flourish and grow and to help the operations and the goals, the school accomplish the goals. So tell us, how many staff and faculty members are present at Berta?
We have 58 staff members at Berta.
Okay. And how many students do you currently have enrolled?
We have currently 373 students at our
Okay.
school.
Now, is this an increase over last year in comparison to last year?
It's actually about the same as last year, although at the beginning of this school year we were projected to have a larger enrollment, but due to zone transfers and whatever, that did not take place. But so we're actually about the same as we were last year.
Okay, all right. So what is the school's mission? Every school in Troup County has a mission or a purpose that helps to set the pace or the direction for the school year. Tell us what Berta's mission is.
Okay, if I may read it, and then I'll
Please
elaborate
do.
on it a little bit.
Sure.
To motivate children to attain their maximum academic and social potential by meeting the needs of individual students so they will become productive citizens in society. This mission is posted all around our school. It's in every classroom. It's in the student handbook that all parents take home with them. And there's
And is that a handbook
This
there?
is one of our handbooks.
Okay. All right.
This is
so
our-
it looks like it's a parent handbook and also a calendar of events. That's pretty
Exactly.
neat. So every parent receives that.
Right. Upon the first day of registration, every family takes one of these homes. It lists everything pertinent information about our school, as well as the calendar of monthly events throughout the year that have already been determined by our administrators.
And also important policies
Exactly.
and procedures are in there as well.
Policies, procedures, the school board members' contact information for central
good.
office.
So that's an important document.
It is. We encourage our parents to hang on to these, put them near their refrigerator somewhere where they can find them readily. But our mission statement, as I said, there's a lot of thought that goes into this process when you pick a mission statement, because you want it to be short and succinct, but yet you want it to cover everything you want it to cover. And so our job there is to take individual students and meet whatever needs they have, whether it be they need food, they need clothing, whatever they need, so that they can be the best they can be in school, and therefore ultimate goal is to become productive members of society.
Most certainly. And you kind of hit on this a little bit, but can you go further into the academic accomplishments and strategies to achieve those accomplishments that tie right back to that mission?
Exactly. Our staff sets high expectations for all students, and also, as we mentioned in the mission statement, meeting individual needs. That is so important. So there's a lot of diversity in teaching strategies for different students, but our teachers set high expectations, our staff does, to meet those needs of students, and our expectations are really high, and we, despite whatever obstacles children may face or barriers they may face before they enter the building, we try to help them cope and deal with those things so that they can be the best they can be. And our teachers do have those high expectations, and last year on the CRCT, all 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students scored in the 90th plus percentile, which is a great accomplishment
Is this
for
in
our
a
students.
certain subject or all subjects?
Well, this is in reading. This is in our
awesome.
reading program.
Great.
Right.
That's still very commendable. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hard work goes into making that happen
Right.
on behalf of the student, the teacher, and the parents, reinforcing learning even at home.
Exactly. And that's where our accelerated reader program comes in, which also enhances the reading program at school, because parents are encouraged to read at home with their children, and children can then take their accelerated reader test at school, and they kind of go hand in hand together.
Now, there's a teacher I've heard about that's done something really unique with the reading project, and it's almost like bringing the books to life. So tell us a little bit about that.
Exactly. Our 4th grade team of teachers, Ms. Hagler, Mr. McNeil, Mr. Daniel, and Ms. Freeman, each year, Ms. Hagler, she's our reading teacher for 4th grade, and they have a book that they read, Justin and the Best Biscuits. And right before Thanksgiving break, they do a culminating activity. And Justin and the Best Biscuits book is about a little boy who travels with his grandfather to a state fair, and his grandfather is a rancher. So there are lots of terminologies and things that the children are not exposed to in this part of the country, and so it's actually brought to life after they've read the book. Our 4th grade team does an amazing job. They actually have a cowboy come in and they do centers, and a cowboy, he brings a horse, he'll usually bring a steer, he'll bring his work dog, and he goes through things, vocabulary that the students have read about in the book, such as mending fences and roping the cows and demonstrating things to them that they've read about. But Ms. Hagler, who is a phenomenal cook, also cooks flapjacks that morning for all the students in her center, but she makes homemade biscuits at home and brings them. And so they actually have a nice feast. And they also do another, they have a pie eating contest. That's one of their centers they do, because that was one of the things at the state fair that Justin participated in, as well as a steer roping contest. But what they do is they actually do it, it's kind of a game of chase, I guess you might say, that they play. So they do a wonderful job of bringing that to life, and especially the terminology that would mean nothing unless you were exposed to it. And so they get that exposure with lots of laughter and lots of fun, and they walk away with a lot of knowledge.
And with that pie eating contest, if I'm not mistaken, I think I've heard that it's also used as fractions, to show fractions.
Exactly.
For math, to reinforce math concepts.
Ms. Recknell's our math teacher, so you're right. Everything they do has something to do with the basic subjects that they're studying.
That is phenomenal. That's great, and I know it makes learning fun for kids.
It does.
It's one thing to hear it, but there are so many different types of learners out there that to see it, to be able to touch it, to see it in practical sense in everyday terms, that's great. That's very important. So tell us more about some of the programs used to enrich student learning. And you can start with telling us about Career Awareness Week, which I know is your project that you oversee and you help to plan. So help our audience understand more about that.
Okay. Each October we combine Career Awareness with Red Ribbon Week. Red Ribbon Week is always October 23rd through 31st. So during that time period we combine career awareness, and our theme is always choose a career, not drugs.
Okay.
So we emphasize, you know, those two things there. Throughout the years we've always had guest speakers. We try to diversify a little and have various speakers throughout the year, but one thing, or excuse me, each year we try to change some of our speakers that we have, but one thing that's remained constant is our vehicle day, our annual vehicle day, and that's where one day we actually block off the front of the school building. The City of LaGrange does this for us. They barricade the road, and we have people in our community, and it started about 8 years ago with the City of LaGrange workers, and we had workers from all various departments from the City of LaGrange. And over the years, each year I thought, well, you know, the students and the staff are probably tired of it, but no, they're not. So we've continued it on each year. So we have the City of LaGrange comes out, the Army Corps of Engineers, we have veterinarian, we have LaGrange Police Detectives, LaGrange Police Department, Georgia State Patrol, we have EMC workers. It's really been a fun thing, but not only for us, but for the workers themselves.
Yes.
In fact, last year we had Mr. Steve Cole, retired principal from LaGrange High School, that was there just assisting Dr. Jackson in another area last year, and he was out there and he said, this is phenomenal. He said, these workers are having, he said, it does as much for them as it does the students. And this school year that we did it, again in October, one department in the City of LaGrange didn't get to come because they did not get the memo, the information, and they came by and said, we did not get this memo, but we will be back next year better than ever. So they look forward to it.
And that's always in October.
It's always in October.
And does every student get to participate, or is it based on a certain grade level?
No, every student participates. What we do is all the grades, kindergarten through 5th grade, they sign up for certain times that they come out. We try to keep it organized chaos out there. They can come outside and they have a 45-minute period. They can take a little longer or a little less if they would like, but they have that period that they come out and different classes are out there just floating around, walking through, wandering around, and so it's worked out really well.
And I've had the privilege of attending, and I see just the smiles, and I see it more again from those volunteers who come out to participate. I've seen the Walmart trucks there. I've seen the fire trucks there, and of course we talked about law enforcement present and emergency medical. It is a huge event, and it's just great that the children get to participate. So tell us, we talked about enriching student learning. Are there other ways that you do that?
Well, we also have a Counseling and Development Center at Berta Weathersbee that was implemented about 12 years ago through a grant, from the state of Georgia grant. And that is a center where classes can come, and 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade actually have a lesson, a thematic lesson, and centers that they can participate in. And 1st and 2nd grade come also just for the lesson, but not yet the center time. But this is where, there again, we work on that mission statement for our students, where we try to meet individual needs, and we focus on those skills that they really need to become productive members of society, such as expressing ideas, rights and responsibilities, decision making, achievement motivation. We'll be doing that close to CRCT time. So just different areas that sometimes in the classroom you don't have time to spend because there's such a rigorous schedule of their academics.
Now, who oversees that? It sounds like that would be something you would do
That
because it's a
is.
counseling center.
It is,
and
correct.
you said there are thematic lessons or
Right.
topics?
It's a topic. Every 4 to 6 weeks I change the units out, and then the classes can sign up to bring their students to come for it's a 20-minute lesson, plus then if they stay for center time, the 20 minutes center time. And all the centers, it's fun.
And what happens
it's
in
easy.
centers?
In centers, basically it's just they get to choose. I introduce the centers, I tell them how many can be at a center. We talk about the rules, we talk about their responsibility to clean up, and it's just a great way that they can relax and have fun, but they're doing something productive, and they're doing something to help them engage in working with others, perhaps solving their own, solving some problems of their own.
Okay. That's great. It sounds like critical thinking skills,
Right.
decision-making skills,
Exactly.
being a team player.
Exactly.
Just more character-based, is it?
And that is included also. In fact, the last month for January, our theme was expressing ideas, and we talk about how do you express your ideas in a healthy way, ideas being your feelings. And we talk about that we all have we all get sad, we all get angry, but it's how we express ourselves that's really important. And we have a neat little book that we read called Don't Pop Your Cork on Thursdays, and so, or excuse me, it's Don't Pop Your Cork on Mondays. And so, you know, it talks about ways to calm yourself down, and that's what we try to teach our children, that you've got to calm yourself down so that you can think rationally and make good choices and good decisions.
And you also, as a school, promote extracurricular activities, not necessarily after school. I'm thinking more of your student education television called The Set.
Correct.
And that's just an example of another way for students to engage in positive school-based activities and programs. So tell us a little bit about those.
Okay. The Set is our weekly news broadcast, and we do that every Friday morning. And we begin with 5th grade students, and it's not just a determined who will do it. Sometimes it's like, who do you think needs a good perk that week? You know, who needs a good motivator that week? But we do try to get 2 good readers every week, and we start with 5th grade students for the first few months, and then we move to 4th grade, and then in the spring we'll move down to 3rd grade students. But it's really interesting to watch students emerge. Your leaders kind of emerge during this process, those that become the director in the set. We always have 2 readers. We have someone behind the camera. We have the soundboard, and all of the equipment that we use was also, we were able to get compliments of one of our partners in education through a grant. So that was a major thing for us to be able to do. It is. So we do that every Friday, and usually, sometimes it's the same students that do some of the activities, but we try to switch around so to give others an opportunity.
Okay. And what about Random Acts of Kindness?
Okay. Random Acts of Kindness is a program that we began about 3 years ago at Berta Weathersbee, seeing that we needed to encourage and recognize and also model for our students the act of kindness. And so any staff member can write anybody they say doing anything kind throughout the day. And Dr. Jackson reads those over the intercom each morning, and then the grade level, every grade level has a little monthly poster, I guess you'd call it. For example, the month of February, every grade level has a heart cut out for their grade, and they get a sticker for every time someone in their grade level does something kind for someone. And at the end of the month, the grade level with the most, that's called out over the intercom, and Dr. Jackson recognizes them with a special treat. Usually during lunch, she'll go down and give them a special treat.
Okay. And lastly, but certainly not least, I'm sure there are others to share, what about the Soaring Eagles?
Okay. The Soaring Eagles are our top non-academic awards that we have at Berta Weathersbee for 5th grade students. Every morning we do the Pledge of Allegiance, we have a moment of silence, and then we do the Berta Pledge. And pre-K through 5th grade always say, in that pledge, I strive to be a soaring eagle. So and that's again part of our character development, is that we want each grade to know that their goal is to try to become a soaring eagle when they get to 5th grade. And so in January, which we just had this 2 weeks ago, our top 5th grade characters were selected to be Soaring Eagles. So we had 13 of those recognized during our student recognition program. But we also, in March, will have another recognition program to give other students the opportunity who were really close to being a Soaring Eagle, but because we don't want them to give up either. We want them to continue to strive to be a Soaring Eagle.
What are those characteristics of a Soaring Eagle? You said the top, but how does one qualify?
Right, and what we say is, well, you're dependable, you're trustworthy, you always do the right thing. And what we try to tell them, if no one is looking, you're doing the right thing. Okay. You're making good choices.
So integrity-based.
Integrity.
Goes a long way. And these are skills that they will need in the workplace and beyond, because I know sometimes with the little ones, if things don't go their way, of course there's natural tendency to pout or want to fuss or fight, with their peers, but just teaching that and giving them an incentive, something to work toward.
Exactly.
Is very good to do.
One neat thing about that is that we've actually seen students who, in their younger grades, would not have been selected as a Soaring Eagle, even maybe in 4th grade. But when they got to 5th grade, they made that decision early on that they were going to do what they needed to do, which they had the ability all along, but they did not have that self-motivation. So that kind of changes in 5th grade.
Good, maturing some.
Maturing, exactly.
Yes. Well, this has been a wonderful program, and we are so delighted that you joined us. Before we close, are there any upcoming school events, workshops, or activities that you can share with our audience in case they want to inquire more, even attend?
Okay. Monday, February the 10th, actually starts a 2-week kickoff for our Leukemia and Lymphoma Society campaign called Pennies for Patients, where our students collect money. We've done that for about 6 years. And on Tuesday, February the 25th at 6 o'clock, we will have our annual Black History program at 6 o'clock p.m. for our staff and students and people in the community. And then we have an encore presentation on Wednesday, February 26th at 1 o'clock.
And that's a huge program as well.
It is.
And a lot of parents come out for that to see their children, and just even partners come out to support.
We do. And sometimes we have board members that attend
Sure.
for that also.
Sure.
So.
And so if someone wants to learn more about the school, who should they contact? Can you share contact information?
I will. You can contact Berta Weathersbee, located at 1200 Forest Avenue, LaGrange. Our phone number is 706-883-1570, or you can go to the Troup County School System webpage and click on Berta Weathersbee for more contact information.
Well, thank you again, Ms. Sosby, counselor at Berta Weathersby Elementary School, for joining us today. And to you, our viewing audience, thank you for tuning in. You were watching Spotlight on Education, and I'd like to thank the City of LaGrange, Philip Sledge and Keith McDowell, for helping to bring this program to you, our viewers. So until next time, please make it a great day.